Farmers across Ghana will have their toils rewarded or at least recognized for their contribution to national development. They've worked hard each day to feed the nation. It's the 37th edition, and as we begin the build-up, we take you live to the Central Region capital, Cape Coast, for events leading to the big day tomorrow. My colleague Richard Kwejonyako is our correspondent there. He joins me live with more on what is happening there. Richard, first, let's look at how things are shaping up. Richard, we cannot hear you. You need to reposition yourself so we can hear what you're saying. All right, so we'll try and get Richard Kwejonyako back on to tell us more. But Charles Nyaba, who is with the Peasants Farmers Association, has also joined us. And earlier, they issued a statement. Mr. Nyaba, Dr. Nyaba, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. Hello, Dr. Nyaba. If you can hear me, welcome to The Pulse this afternoon. All right, so we'll try and get him back on. He joins us via Zoom. Kwejonyako is back. And Kwejonyako, you were telling us preparation for tomorrow's celebration.
Hello, Aisha.
Yes, we can hear you, Kwejonyako. Go ahead.
Okay, so Aisha, we are at the event venue, the Additional College Park. In fact, this is the exhibition center, and it's the same venue that is going to host tomorrow's National Farmers Day celebration. In fact, it started on a very slow note where the exhibitors were complaining that, in fact, they were not receiving enough patronage. But as the day, went on, they started seeing some good signs, and so I'm happy to report that they are very, very happy now. Now there have been series of activities ahead of tomorrow's event. Today there was the ADB forum where stakeholders in the fishing and farming industry converged, and they were thinking about financing, how to finance the agricultural sector. In fact, they said that there were a lot of restrictions and impediments that have been put in the way of the access to funding by these farmers. So the ADB announced that come 2020, they were going to ensure that all of these impediments were removed, and they were going to ensure that even the small-scale farmers and then those with the bigger muscles would also have access to funding that will also boost the agricultural sector. In fact, we also had an interaction with the 2020 national best farmer, and his thought was that it is not only the bigger muzzled farmers that ought to be supported or the loan acquisition, but they are looking for grants for the small-scale farmers as well, because according to him, they constitute about 70% of the food producers in the country. And so if they are catered for, the country's quest to reduce the food imports in the country would also see the day of light. And so it's been very exciting here. There are many people that have displayed their wares here, from agricultural produce to some innovations. In fact, earlier we also went to a place where the solar poultry cage, where you can even have one in your home, where everybody will have some ease in raising poultry in their home in order to reduce the poultry imports in the country. So it's been very, very good here, Aisha.
Richard, I know that the farmers have been explaining why government must pay more attention to their plight, especially as they are going to be celebrated tomorrow. What are the issues that they're raising, and what is top on that list?
Come again, Aisha.
I know they've been telling you the problems they're facing, and I'm saying, what is top of that list? The reason why governments must give them attention.
Well, so according to them, there's been a rise in food imports, and the COVID-19 has dealt a hefty blow to the farming sector, and so they want government to intervene. They say that the time is now for government to shore up production so that the food imports that we boast ourselves saying that our economy is an import-driven one would be changed. In fact, the narrative, they want the narrative changed, so they want government to give more grants, not only loans, but grants to excite the farming sector for people, especially the youth, to go into agriculture. In fact, the managing director of the Agricultural Development Bank was saying that, well, they need to make entrepreneurs out of the fresh graduates that are coming out of school. So what the ADB intend doing is to give them some incentives, give them monthly stipends, give them accommodation, so that the national best farmers, the past national best farmers, would raise or mentor some of these fresh graduates in order for them to generate some interest and be also self-sustaining, so they will be able to mentor others. By so doing, the menace of graduate unemployment will reduce drastically. So for the farmers, it is access to financing, and then the desire of government to inject more resources and capital into the farming sector. The fishermen I have been speaking with are also saying that they should not be left behind, because they also need to be given some incentives, outboard motors and other things, because the marine resources are on a decline, and government also need to come to their aid. Introduction of aquaculture policy will also aid them gravely. So that is what has been happening here.
Thankfully, Dr. Nyaba, Charles Nyaba, who is head of programs and advocacy for the Peasant Farmers Association, has also joined us. I'm grateful for your time, Dr. Nyaba. You have listed a 7-point, if you like, challenges for government to deal with. In there, you have COVID-19 pandemic affecting farmers, you have climate change issues affecting farmers, and you are also issuing a stern warning to government to ensure that the e-levy that it intends to charge farmers, it should ensure that it doesn't discourage them from participating in government's digitalization drive. What are those issues you're raising? Kindly unmute for me, Dr. Nyaba.
Okay. Thank you very much, Isa. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So I was saying that let me use the opportunity to also congratulate all smallholder farmers across the country who, through the effect of COVID and climate change, have tried to ensure that the country is still a food secure nation. Now, we have listed a number of issues, and this is not the first time. We've already presented some of these issues to government.
All right, so Dr. Nyaba is the head of programs and advocacy for the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. All right, so I'm told he's back. Dr. Nyaba, let's hear you.
Yeah, I was saying that following what is currently happening, where we have increases in food prices and shortages across all food-growing areas, most of these things are as a result of what happened in 2020. Now, what are those factors that we talk about? There is a global impact of COVID-19 on a lot of input providing industries that we depend for inputs. For instance, many fertilizer companies fertilizer everywhere, making it impossible for importers in Ghana to get fertilizer. So more actually produce without fertilizer. And apart from that, access to inputs, access to mechanization service has also become a problem. Not only availability, but costs were too high. So we think that if government agenda of making Ghana self-sufficient in food production in certain commodities like rice, that the minister keeps saying, then we need to pay attention to some of these things. Otherwise, we continue singing these songs and we are not moving anywhere. The other leg we're looking at has to do with impact of climate change. You realize that in 2021, at the beginning of the season, there was drought across all the farming growing communities in the country. Along the line, when the rain started, we experienced some flooding in northern part of the country, which destroyed the little that we were able to produce. For all this contributed to shortage of food in the various markets that we are currently experiencing. Now, the other issue that we have observed in the budget that has just been read, whether it has been approved or not, that we want government to take a second look, has to do with imposition of 1.7% e-levy and all electronic transactions, including mobile money transactions. That is not too healthy enough for we who try to encourage farmers to also go into savings and then using digitization to... Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Dr. Nyaba.
Yeah. So we think that it's something that government need to look at, even though that we need to consider. Because already farmers are going through a whole lot of risks and difficulties. Most farmers are producing at loss because the risk in the sector, any other businessman will not like to go in. So once we have volunteered to go into these areas, we really need that government cushion to enable her to continue to do this kind of things. But if you are now imposing a levy of 1.7% on e-transactions, that will not help us at all. And we think that it's not yet too late. The budget is still being discussed. It's something that government can do. And if for nothing at all, the government thinks it cannot completely take this one out, there should be concession for smallholder farmers so that they will be able to actually continue to do their work. Now, the other angle that we need to look at, if you talk of smallholder farmers, it comprises of those who are into crops, those who are into fisheries, and those who are into livestock. The livestock could be domestic poultry or intensification of poultry. If you look at planting for food and jobs, the focus has been on the crop subsector with limited attention on those who are into domestic poultry, domestic livestock like cow, goat, and what have you. As a result, we continue to import meat. Meanwhile, we have the capacity in the country to produce enough meat for our own consumption and even for the neighboring country. So we think that as we reflect the Farmers' Day and what we need to do in going forward, government need to actually broaden the scope to also put in interventions that will address issues in the livestock subsector. So among other things are some of the things that we think we need to reflect as we celebrate at the 7th edition of the Farmers' Day.
What recommendations are you making for government as far as the 7-point challenges you've listed for government is concerned?
Yeah, so our major point has to do with availability of water for dry season farming. So we are recommending that governments should go back and look at the one village, one dam that was initially instituted, of which the dams were not properly constructed. We want government to put in money to increase dams across the country and the silted irrigation facilities. That was one for the climate change. In terms of mechanization services, we want government to increase investment in bringing in customized smallholder machineries, those that can be used for planting, those that can be used for harvesting. And then also in establishing mechanization centers, it should be possible for farmer groups to be able to procure some of these centers and manage them for the benefit of smallholder farmers. We've seen a situation in the past where these centers were actually sponsored with the taxpayer money, and then they should be handed over to farmers to manage them. In the area of livestock, we want government to actually subsidize feeding and then increase extension services to domestic poultry and domestic livestock. When government talk about livestock, the focus has always been on those that have been intensified, the formal sector livestock, which is we see a huge poultry farms and other things. And even that one is not enough. So we want to see similar attention that we have for food and jobs also being extended for rearing for food and jobs. And we think that when we do that, we will have integrated system so that if the crop subsector fails, we still have the livestock subsector supporting the productivity of farmers. In the area of the e-levy, as I mentioned earlier on, we want government to come up with an innovative approach that will ensure that smallholder farmers are cushioned or they are not taxed that much, which will discourage them from also participating in organic fertilizer. Today, you hear in the news that most big chemical companies like ARI in Norway and China are being shut down. So it means that we are going to have more difficult times in 2022. So we now need to begin to see how best we can invest in organic fertilizer and also training farmers to use their own farm debris to prepare compost, and then introducing agroecology farming practices. When we do that, it will limit overdependence of farmers on chemical fertilizer, which is already a problem for us. We also want to see a situation where government actually practicalize the intervention that is looking at making it possible for the youth to get credit at a flexible interest rate to go into agriculture. If that is done, we will see our young youth, those who are already in it, and those who are outside looking for employment, non-existent jobs, and they are riding for the farming communities to urban areas, also engaging in farming activities.
Charles Nyaba is the head of programs and advocacy for Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. I'm grateful for your time, Dr. Nyaba, but he makes some critical points there, and they want government to subsidize feeding for livestock, continue with the One Village, One Dam, extend planting for food program, and also devise innovative ways of charging the e-levy. My colleague, Kojo Nyakun is still there. Kojo Nyakun, what more can you tell us as far as the preparation towards tomorrow's Farmers' Day is concerned? Yes, Kojo Nyakun.
Hello, Aisha.
Yes, Kojo Nyakun.
Thanks for the exhibitors here. You see here, there are some South African goods that have been brought here. They're advertising that people should come and buy them. And let me speak with you. Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Well, so I've seen these South African goats here, and then the price tags that are here. I can see $1,350 for one goat.
Yeah,
How that?
Yes, these are special breed of goats. These are Boer and Kalaharis, and these are for breeding. These are not dogs, goats that you are buying just to go and eat. They are for genetic improvement. And these goats are coming from South Africa. They are coming from an area where the cost of feeding an animal is very high. So all that is factored into the price. The price you see over there included freight to Kotoka International Airport. And you know that due to Corona, freight has gone up.
So have people come here to buy some? Or?
Yeah, some people have come and now make deposit that they will be bringing some for them. These animals, as we speak, these are for somebody. They are brought for somebody. So they will be bringing more for those who are making inquiries. Because you see, the economics of these animals is super.
Okay. All right. Here, so you could see this, it is called the solar poultry cage. And this one, they tell us that you could just raise poultry in your home with ease. It has everything, and so you do not need to worry yourself. It produces lights, there is water there, and so all that you need to do is to just draw this the tray here, and then you can empty this one and put other things in. And so these are among the things that are being exhibited here. I can see people trooping to come and look at them. A lot of them are beginning to make some good sales as well, and they are beginning to get excited.
Nyakun is our man on the ground for us. Tomorrow is the big day where farmers will be applauded or recognized for their hard work. We'll say congratulations to them ahead of that day.